Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, where you ever are across this great wide world of ours. I hadn't done a video about a week. Sorry, been dealing with allergies, but um, and my throat gets dry. But I want to do a little quick video on empathy, and there are three things that I find that it's important about empathy. And what I mean by empathy is it boils down to three things. It's having an understanding of other people, uh, nurture, nurturing, and and the other one is to help others grow. And the first one, when I understand this, is the um, understanding of others. And I think this is a big key for a lot of people is when we get into a situation where we're having a difficulty with another person, going through a divorce, issue with people not understanding you at work, or people you feel like there's no value in what you're doing. The first thing you have to do is understanding of others. In other words, what I mean by others is you got to walk in the shoes of that other person. In other words, you have to understand where they're coming from. A lot of times, like I said, a lot of people will just will take and start uh, pontificating about this, and this, without the knowledge of where this other person comes. You don't know if this person's having a bad week. You don't know if they have a person that's sick in their life. So you really don't understand where they're coming from in the situation. They could be going through a nasty divorce. And so the first step of anything is the understanding of others. And then once you have a good grasp of that, or the understanding of others, the next step is nurturing. In other words, almost like a baby, when a baby's born and then before they become into the toddler stage, beyond the toddler stage, a person needs to be nurtured. In other words, held, understanding, and not necessarily as you get older and come to the adult stage, is, giving somebody a handshake or giving, a pat on the back or a hug on the shoulders. We've come so, in this society, we've come so distant, and a lot of this is because of the fact of the COVID, post COVID, and just reaching out to somebody and nurturing them or saying things will be fine. Let me know what's going on. Let me see if I can help you out. That kind of thing. Case in point is, say, for instance, you're getting on a plane. Had this happen about a few months ago. Was out going to see my daughter. Maybe it was almost about a year ago, but somebody needed it. It was somebody that was small, a lady, and she couldn't get her luggage down. So I reached up in the overhead and brought it down for her. The other thing I did, for instance, is I have a tendency to sit towards the back of the plane a lot of times because I really don't like sitting up in the front because a lot of people get up and down. And I've got long legs, and sometimes I'll put my legs in the aisle, which really I shouldn't be doing, but I do anyway. And so I try to sit towards the back of the plane. Well, as soon as you land, people are like cattle or like sheep or wanting to rush off the plane. So what I really do is I just sit and let other people get off the plane. Not unless I got a connecting flight and it's real short or whatever. But for the most part, I will take that time and move forward. Like other people. That's part of like nurturing or understanding stuff. And sometimes when you do this, you help somebody, and it kind of gives you this blood rush, or this incentive to move things forward. So the goal here is to always to nurture in a situation. It can be a professional nurturing, like I said. It don't necessarily have to be that. We get into this issue of Title IX and issues about, cross that line between what's sexual harassment and what's not sexual harassment. So the goal is always to nurture somebody, but not to go over across that line. And that part of that is, ethics and what I always call the slippery slope. Excuse me. The final one thing is you try to help others grow. Help others grow in a professional, in a personal manner. And what I mean by this is somebody comes up with an issue. The goal is to always to help them grow as a person. Case in point, for example, taking a couple courses in law at where I'm attending school, and I had an appointment with the advisor on Thursday, which is yesterday, and the goal there for myself was to help to help as when I was advising, not necessarily advising, but I guess they were advising me. But on the other hand, I was helping them to understand what was going on. Yeah, another example I always say that I use is when I was at a nonprofit. I used to work with a lot of homeless vets. And what I usually tried to do with the homeless vets, it was to teach them to be held themselves personally accountable. The issue that the issue that always comes with a lot of people, especially with Pesco, is they don't want to be accountable for their actions. And if you can get that across to tell people, yeah, I'm accountable, I'll move forward. And that's the point. We could talk about even with this last election, presidential election, the people, the goal necessarily, is one of my kids was really upset because the person that win that she thought was going to win, and was really upset. And so I did two things. First, I nurtured her, understood where she was coming from, and thirdly, I told her this is a good growing experience. Every candidate you want to win doesn't necessarily win, and it's a case in point. And I told her that I ran for a local office, won 4 times, but it comes to a point where you just look at it and say you have to help others grow. The other one is you talk about some of the people like Steve Harvey, who talks about that you have to jump to grow as a person, and and that's a good video to watch with. And there's another one, Simon Sinek, that talks about leaders eat last at the table. In other words, what he talks about is you got to have a certain amount of I hate to use the word kahunas, or in other words, leadership to to help others. And it's just it's something that you have to, and it's one of those things that I always say, leaders are not born. Either you have it or you don't have it. And in case of point, you can say that it's the last election. It was not necessarily about, case in point, Harris, even though, I'm sure it was a bittersweet loss, but she really should have came out and said, I'm not going to concede until every vote is counted, and I'll reach back to you people tomorrow morning sometime, or tomorrow afternoon, or whatever. You had all those people there. You at least got to come out and make a statement, because in other words, they're supportive of you, and yet the political chair or her advisors came out. One of them came out and talked and said, she's not going to speak tonight, which really a good leader, even though would say, come out and talk. But then again, like I said, I've talked before about the man in an arena, which is Teddy Roosevelt's speech. And if you can sometimes Google that up, It's about, a person that, either wins or loses, but even if they lose, they do better than the timid soul who knows neither victory. And always in the back of my mind, the timid soul that neither knows victory or defeat. And then, in other words, she put herself out there and she lost, but at least she put herself out there. So a lot of people would not even have done that. So, kudos to her for that as well. So the point here is when we're talking about empathy, you need three things. You need to have an understanding of others. You have to be nurturing. In other words, understand and help them, be supportive. And then the final thing is to help others grow. In other words, to grow and to be, and help them to grow as a person. And it's just like when I teach a concept, and I like now everything is almost protected with lots online, but when you teach a concept, when I was in the classroom, and you see somebody get it, it's really neat to watch the eyes light up and the smile on their face and say, "Oh yeah, now I get it." So anyway, thanks for the likes. Please like and subscribe. Remember, I do have books self-published on Amazon. They're under $2. I got to work with Amazon on that, and I have to get them all condensed into one. They're under B. Thomas Miller and also Boyd T. Miller. So, so both of these are under that. So, anyway, please like and subscribe at the bottom. I will try to do my best to get a video out next week, and I do have a busy week, and I hope to talk to you soon. Folks, have a great week. Feel free to reach out to me at B. Thomas Miller Psych. B. Thomas Miller Psych, the way it's spelled, at gmail.com. Anyway, hope you have a great week. Talk to you real soon. Bye.